All right, so this is the tutorial on our butterfly or not Rembrandt, Paramount. Man, sorry, Paramount lighting. Okay, so you're going to open up your image in Photoshop. That's the first thing you're going to do. At this point, you should all be fairly proficient in how to do this, so I'm not going to go over all the fine steps with that. But File, Open, or Command O. We're going to locate our image. It's going to be on this card. It's going to be under the DCIM folder. So you've probably at this point done this at least 10 or 15 times. And let's see, I'm guessing it's going to be here. Yep, there we go. And I'm going to edit that one. Okay, so we used a light fall off technique, so we had no background behind you, right? So the light's falling off because there's a distance behind us, so there's nothing to reflect against. So that's how we achieve this black look, right? The first thing you're going to do is I'd like you to crop it to a 4x6 and be mainly a head and shoulders shot, okay? So we're going to crop it to a 4x6. 4. Oop, flip those. And with a DPI of 300. So I'm just going to bring this down, recenter it. We want to leave just a sliver of headroom, okay? Just a little bit. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to hit Command plus to zoom in. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to do what in Photoshop? What's the first thing we always do? Make a copy. So Command J. Where are my layers at here? Let's see here. There we go. Make this a little smaller. All right, so this background copies are a safe place. We can always go back here and start. In fact, you're going to need that to show your before and after, right? All right, so we're just going to turn that one off for now. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to do a little bit of blemish removal. So we're going to use the spot healing brush here. And we can control the size of our brush with our bracket keys, like so. Or you can go up here and you can select on this. I find the bracket keys are much more convenient and they're quicker to use. So let's see, we're going to zoom in here and I'm going to do a little blemish removal. Yes, even when you're in your 40s, you're still going to get blemishes. All right, so while we're on the topic of blemishes, let's talk quickly about what do you do if somebody has, say, like a big mole on their face? What do you do? So Mrs. Agem and I were discussing this just yesterday. At the end of the shoot, you want to ask your client, do you have any special edits you'd like me to do? And sometimes they'll tell you, yes, can you remove that mole on my face or whatever the situation may be, or they won't say anything. What I recommend you do in those situations, if say they have a big mole on their face, there's actually a technique that you can do to reduce, make it not as noticeable, but it's still there. It's a part of them, right? So you don't want to remove it completely, because if they didn't ask for it and you remove it and you give them their pictures, it's almost insulting in a way, right? So simply ask them, do you have any special edits you'd like me to do? Usually you send over like the first round of like previews, and then you would ask that question, or at the shoot or something like that. All right, so what I'm noticing here is I didn't get much sleep last night. So when your clients ask you what can I do to get ready for the shoot, a good night of sleep is always a great tip to tell your clients, okay? So I'm a little red in the cheeks. I only got about 3 hours of sleep last night. So I'm going to reduce the redness a little bit, and I'm just going to come in and I'm going to adjust my hue and saturation, which is Command U. So I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut instead, Command U. And I'm just going to bring the saturation down just a little bit. Reduce some of the red. There we go. All right. So we did some blemish removal. So now we can see a before and after. There's before, right? All right. So now I'm going to whiten my teeth a little bit. So I'm going to create a new layer by hitting this little, see the little dog ear right here? So we have a blank layer here. And I'm going to grab just a white brush. Now, Lightroom, normally I would do this in Lightroom. Lightroom makes it super easy. They have tools that are designed for it. When we get there, you'll see why. But this is how you would do it in Photoshop. So I'm simply going to zoom in on my teeth. I'm going to grab a brush. Actually, no, let's do the quick selection tool. No, I'll use a brush. Oh, not that brush. I'm going to use a nice, soft, kind of fuzzy brush here. Brackets to change the size. And I'm going to go in, and obviously I don't want to paint my teeth green. Yeah. That's some pearly white teeth there, right? That's a gleaming smile, right? Obviously, that's not what we want. So we're just going to bring the opacity down. Now, here's the thing, is it's really easy to go crazy on this, okay? It's normal to have a little bit of color in your teeth. Nobody has perfectly white teeth, okay? So I'm just going to bring up the color of my teeth just a shade or two, okay? Because if you do too much, it looks really weird. So, like, this would be too weird. See how I overpainted here a little bit? I can just grab my eraser tool and go in there and, ooh, that's a big brush. And clean it up a little bit. Like so. Okay. A little too much right there. Okay. So it's still a little too strong for my opinion. See, it doesn't look natural, right? So I'm going to adjust it down a little bit. All right. So now I'm going to merge these two layers. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to do it just for to show the side by side. All right. So now we got before and after. All right. So teeth whitening, a little bit of blemish removal. Let's say you have some crazy hair that's kind of floating around up here, right? So this is generally, ladies, this is something you might run into a little bit more than the gentleman, right? But say we have some hair that's just kind of not doing what we want to do. So say this is kind of out here. You're just going to use that same spot removal brush that you used earlier to remove that. So where'd it go? Right there. It's the one with the little loop on it. And a nice small brush. And we're just going to kind of paint that out, and it's gone. Okay? So ladies, so same thing, if you have like a hair that's kind of coming down in your face here a little bit, same thing. Take your time, do it in small batches. Don't try to do the whole thing at once. And if you have a hair going across your eyeball, like right here, you're done. There's nothing you can do about that. There's no fixing that. Just leave it. Okay? You're better just to leave it than to try to fix it. I have tried and tried and tried. It's impossible. Okay? All right, so to take this to another level, you're not going to have this problem, but since I am a little older, I'm going to reduce the look of my wrinkles a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to create a duplicate layer, Command J, and I'm simply going to grab this lasso tool, which is where are you at? Lasso tool. There you are. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to grab all of this and pull that in. Not working. Come on. Oh, I gotta select the right one here. I think I have the wrong one here. Nope, I'm sorry. It's the patch tool. Try that again. Okay, so obviously that is not natural looking, right? Even a baby will have a line right there, okay? But I want it to look like me, but I want to look a little younger. So I'm just going to reduce the opacity of that layer down so I can still see them, but they're not as distinct. So they're still there. All right, so then I'm going to merge these two layers. And now we have a before and an after, right? Looking. What was that? Okay, so the next step is we are going to add a mask. Okay, I realize we're getting short on time, so I'm going to go through this very quickly. Okay, so down here at the bottom, we're going to work on we're going to create a new layer. So Command J, and then we're going to click this little icon right here where it's got the square and the circle on it. This is a mask, and it's going to add this white one here. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to add a Gaussian blur to the whole image. Okay, so the way you do that is you go up here to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and we are going to do, let's see, bring it up a little bit. Let's do 20 pixels. That's not a gunshot. All right. I need to back up here. Sorry, folks. All right, I'm just going to delete that layer. We're going to start that over again. Okay, create a new layer. Command J. We're going to add the Gaussian blur first. Blur. And then we're going to add the, there we go. So let's do 5 pixels, okay? Obviously, we don't want a blurry picture, right? So this is when we're going to add the mask. And now this mask is here, I'm going to hit Command I, which is going to select the inverse, okay? Now all I'm simply going to do is I'm going to grab a white brush, and I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to paint my face. Get a nice big brush. And it's going to add almost like that Instagram filter look to it, right? Okay, so obviously this is a little too blurry, right? So all I have to do is, so you would do, I have a beard, so I'm not going to blur out the beard. Try to leave the hair in the places that you can. I'll go in here and...
What?
Okay, so to reduce this effect a little bit so it's not so fake looking, we're just going to adjust the opacity again. So usually probably around, I'm going to say 30, 35% is a good mix for guys. For girls, you can go a little higher actually, because it's kind of expected that you might be wearing base or something like that. All right, so let's merge these two layers. All right, so here we have before, and here we have after. Right? Before, after. Okay, so now we're going to create a new template. So File, New, or Command New. This is going to be, let's see, 8 inches wide by 7 inches high. And here's why. We're going to bring over each of these layers independently. So here's my edited one. Maybe. Oh, here we go. I'm going to drop it in. Okay. And then I'm going to drop in my other layer. I'm going to have to make a copy of this, pull it over. So there's my before. All right, so then I'm just going to grab some text down here. Before. I don't care. You can, as long as you can't obviously use white because you can't see white on white. But let's see here. Let's go with just a good old-fashioned black. Before. And then we're going to do another one after. You can choose your fonts. I really don't care. All right, good. And then you're going to save this as a JPEG. Command S brings up your save as dialog box. I want you to put your name in there, so your last name preferably. Byrne. before, oh man, I can't type, before and after. And you're going to save this as a JPEG. Hold on. Save it to your thumb drive. And when this pops up, quality 12, and this is what you are submitting into Classroom. All right, guys, have a great day. See you tomorrow.